Hello and welcome to Byju's IAS. Let's begin today's daily quiz with question number 1 on your screen now. Consider the following statements with regards to the suspension of the members of parliament. Number 1. The MPs can be suspended by the President of India on the recommendation of the presiding officer of the House, that is, the Lok Sabha Speaker or the Rajya Sabha Chairperson. Second, the MPs can only be suspended for their conduct in the ongoing session of the parliament. Which of these given statements is or are correct? The correct answer here is D. Both the given statements are wrong. The first statement is wrong because the members of parliament are suspended by the presiding officer of the house. You would have seen in the newspaper today that 12 Rajya Sabha members have been suspended for the entire winter session by the Vice President of India, that is the presiding officer of Rajya Sabha. Second statement also is wrong because in the article it is mentioned that they have been suspended not for anything that they did in this session, but for their activities on the last day of the last session of the parliament. So the official statement says that the members of parliament have been suspended for unprecedented acts of misconduct and unruly and violent behavior on 11th August, that is, on the last day of the previous monsoon session. The article also mentions the name of the 12 members of parliament from the opposition parties who have been suspended under this particular decision for the entire winter session. Question number 2. Consider the following statements with regards to office of profit in India. Number 1. There is a clear statement in the Indian Constitution under Article 102 subsection 1A and under Article 191 subsection 1A that a member of parliament or MLA is not allowed to hold any office of profit as this would fetch them financial gains and benefits. Second, it does not apply where an individual holds two executive positions simultaneously. Third, the office of profit concept has been adopted from the British parliamentary model. Which of these given statements is or are correct? The correct answer here is D. All the three given statements are correct. The concept of office of profit is based on the idea of separation of powers. In other words, a person who has a legislative position, that is MP or MLA, at the same time should not hold an executive position because that would compromise his or her working. On the other hand, if a person holds two executive positions together, let's say if there is a person who is in charge of two ministries, that does not include the concept of office of profit. The idea is that as a member of the legislature, you are supposed to hold the government accountable for its actions. But when you hold an executive position, you become a part of the government itself. That is why this concept bars those who have a legislative position from having an executive position simultaneously. This concept has been adopted from the British system. The reason why we are asking this question is because of what happened in Rajasthan, where the chief minister's advisors have been seeking ministerial status in the state. As you can see from the article, the ruling Congress government is trying to appoint some MLAs as the advisors to the chief minister and giving them ministerial status. The reason why they can't be made ministers is because there is a capping on the maximum number of ministers that there can be. So the maximum number of ministers can be 15% of the legislative assembly strength. A loophole that many governments use is they appoint other MLAs not as ministers but as advisors to the chief minister. This is what has led to this controversy in Rajasthan. Question number 3. The drainage path of Krishna River does not include which of the following states? Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, Karnataka, and Telangana. The answer here is A. Tamil Nadu. The Krishna River flows through Maharashtra, Karnataka, Telangana, and Andhra Pradesh. It is one of those rivers that has been contested by multiple states over water sharing issues. There is an article in today's The Hindu newspaper under which the state governments of Telangana and Andhra Pradesh have told the Supreme Court that they have no information over how much water has the state of Karnataka diverted from the Krishna River. Defending its actions, the Karnataka government argues that a lot of water from this river actually goes waste and drains directly into the ocean. And thus, there is a need to use that water for irrigation and specifically in dry regions. Krishna River, as you would know, is the fourth largest river of India after Ganga, Godavari, and Brahmaputra. The river originates from the Western Ghats in the state of Maharashtra. Moving on to question number 4. Which of the following is correct with regards to the central bank digital currency as per the RBI? Number 1. The central bank digital currency is a legal tender issued by a global authority in a digital form. Second, it is a legal tender issued by a central bank in a digital form. Third, it is RBI's attempt to launch its own cryptocurrency to rival the existing ones. And last, none of the above. The correct answer here is B, which is pretty self explanatory. It is a legal tender issued by the central bank in a digital form. So it's not a cryptocurrency, it's a digital currency. For instance, digital currency allows the government and the central bank to track its application and to track the owner of that particular currency. China became the first country to announce that they will be introducing their own digital currency very soon. RBI also has now said that it is in talks with the government to include digital currency in the country. This Indian Express article tells us that the RBI has asked the government to amend the RBI Act of 1934, enabling the RBI to launch a central bank digital currency. This comes at a time when the government is planning to introduce a bill to ban cryptocurrencies in India. The difference between cryptocurrencies and digital currency would be number 1, it will be backed up by the central bank. Number 2, it will be traceable, unlike the cryptocurrency. Third, the bank would also be able to track the application of that money. Both the currencies are based on the technology of blockchain. Next is a previous year question from 2019. In the context of which of the following are the terms pyrolysis and plasma gasification mentioned? Number 1, extraction of rare earth elements. Second, natural gas extraction technologies. Third, hydrogen fuel based automobiles. Fourth, waste to energy technologies. The correct answer here is D, waste to energy technologies. This question was asked in the 2019 prelims. Pyrolysis and plasma gasification mainly are technologies under which extremely high temperatures are used to break down waste. These technologies are also termed as advanced thermal technologies or alternative conversion technologies. They are mainly used for treating waste such as paper, petroleum based waste such as plastics, and organic materials such as food scraps. Time now for the fact of the day, and today we will be discussing about the creation of the state of Uttarakhand. Not a topic that a lot of people read about, but a very interesting topic nevertheless. In the year 2000, India got three new states: Uttarakhand, that was Uttaranchal at that time, Jharkhand, and Chhattisgarh. Whenever such a new state is formed, the problem is about the division of assets and liabilities. So, when Uttarakhand was carved out of UP, which assets and liabilities would be transferred to Uttarakhand was a matter of big debate. Multiple agreements since then have been signed between the two governments, but Uttarakhand still alleges that they have not got their due even after 2 decades of the state being formed. For example, there are over 41 canals which start from Uttarakhand and go back into Uttarakhand, which have still not been handed over to Uttarakhand state. Not just this, the Tehri Dam, Nanak Sagar Dam, Begul Dam, and Tomaria Dam, which are all located in Uttarakhand but are still controlled by the UP government. Ever since the year 2000, multiple governments have tried to resolve the issues between the two sides. In fact, multiple matters have even gone to the courts. For example, about the dispute related to irrigation, transport, and sharing of employees and liabilities. While some of them have been resolved, a lot of these matters still remain pending. One major pending issue is about the irrigation department and its assets. The chief ministers of the two states recently signed an agreement under which the irrigation department officials of the two states would meet within 15 days and conduct a joint survey of 5,700 hectares of land and 1,700 buildings in Uttarakhand which are under the control of the UP Irrigation Department. The task of this survey is to identify the buildings which are essential for UP. All the others which are not found to be essential for UP will be transferred to the state of Uttarakhand. Not just this, there have also been issues about the division of the forest department and its assets. UP government had paid about 77 crore rupees to Uttarakhand at the time of formation of the new state for its forest resources. It is interesting to note that both the states right now are governed by the same party, which is why many people are hopeful of situation being resolved very soon. This is it for today's session. Thank you so much for watching the video.